So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, Aston Villa fans, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast. Aston Villa 2, Arsenal 2. And there's what a game of ebb and flow, a game of I'm going to be really honest. I think Aston Villa fans are going to come away from that and go, 2-2 is a really good result, which they absolutely should do. I believe that it is a good result, but obviously there was failings in the team here, and I think Arsenal are going to come away from that, and Arsenal are going to go, we've done it again. We've done it again against Aston Villa. We have put ourselves behind the 8 ball in the title race, and it all comes down to playing against Aston Villa. 2-0 up, genuinely 2-0 up. Arsenal should be coasting in that game. Should really be coasting in that game. 2-0 up. The way Villa were, so easy to attack down the flanks, regardless of which side it was at times there in that first half, and then into the second half to get their goal then from the right hand side, from their left hand side or right hand side again. 2-0 up. Villa didn't. They looked like they weathered Villa's storm that they had in the first half. I thought Villa played pretty well in the first half. I was actually really pleasantly surprised. Lapse of concentration for the goal. I think I'm not going to say there's wide consensus on it, but I know a lot of people I've spoken to have said that, as well. Lapse of concentration. Ian Maatson doesn't get his head around and doesn't look, and Martinelli steals in. Martinez nearly keeps it out. He probably should have kept it out with the first save, but he goes with the second one and the ball is over the line. Excuse me. Villa had a couple of chances in that first half, and they didn't take them. Maatson himself had a chance, went straight at Raya. Watkins missed one chance, and we go in 1-0 down. But we go in 1-0 down with Amadou Onana actually having gone off as well. And at the time, he brings on Lamar Bogart. I'm going to speak specifically just on Lamar Bogart's performance, because there was eyebrows raised. There was a lot of former pros as well on Twitter questioning why Lamar Bogart was brought on. And we'll talk about that in a moment. Then second half happens, Digne comes on, Maatson goes off. I'd like to know in the comments, guys, if you think that was maybe a harsh substitution based on Matson's performance during the first half in an attacking sense, or whether you felt that it was warranted. We'll discuss that in a moment as well. Sorry, excuse me. I've got a really, really bad dry kind of cough that I just cannot shake. So I do apologize for my coughing. So we come out in the second half, and then Kai Havertz scores. Again, am I being too harsh thinking that Emi Martinez probably should have saved that shot? That he dives out of the way of it and it hits his leg. Not saying that Emi Martinez had a bad game. He stopped 2 or 3 brilliant stops in that game. Were really, really good. But I don't know, am I being too harsh on that? I'm going to have to watch it back a couple of more times just to see. But, we get beaten down that right-hand side. Kamara has to cover for Matty Cash. And then Havertz gets in between our 2 centre halves and gets his foot to the ball. Guides it towards Emi Martinez. It was at point blank range, so I probably am being too harsh with Emi Martinez. And it goes into the back of the net. And Arsenal are 2-0 up. And genuinely, even though I whipped out my phone and put on Aston Villa or draw, bet at 2-0 down at 4-1 and was the recipient of X amount of cash after the game, I still I wasn't fully sure that Villa could fully make a 2-goal comeback. I expected us probably to score and go down in a valiant defeat, but I wasn't sure we'd come back to a 2-2 draw. And then something just kind of kicked into gear for Villa. It was kind of a case of caution to the wind. Okay, we're 2-0 down. Might as well start playing. And I've often talked about Aston Villa needing somebody to grab the game by the scruff of the neck and to grab the bull by the horns. And Yuri Tielemans for a 10 minutes patch after that second goal from Kai Havertz was absolutely brilliant. Maybe, but yeah, the 8-minute patch between our 2 goals was absolutely brilliant. The goal he scores, I didn't have it in my bingo card. I tweeted it. Did anyone have it in your bingo card? That Yuri Tielemans was going to score a diving header? I didn't have it on my bingo card, but I thought he was really good for a 10-minute period. He just turned it on, and you could see him, like, every time we broke forward, he was busting his lungs to get up and attack. And then the ball drops to him at the edge of the area, and he cranks one off the post. Very, very unlucky. Villa could have been 2-2 in the space of 3 minutes after Arsenal go 2-0 up, and we shell shocked them for a period of time. And then we get the second goal. Ollie Watkins, who misses chances from time to time. Ball comes in. Matty Cash can cross the ball with his left foot again. Lovely cross in with his left foot, if I'm not mistaken. And Ollie Watkins, was it? No, he certainly was his left foot. Correct me if I'm wrong on that. And then Ollie Watkins with a brilliant finish up into the roof of the net. Raya has no hope. I have seen on Twitter his detractors saying that he nearly missed. Don't give me that he nearly missed. He plays it high into the roof of the net, and we're back to 2-2. And Villa looked a bit more complete, a bit more dangerous again. Yes, we could have lost it towards the end. Mikel Moreno has that ball, kicks it down, goes underneath Kamara's legs, comes off Kai Havertz's hand. It's not a goal. It is a handball. We can talk about, like, they're giving off the whole time. Fast or wind back to the Villa Park game. I think the commentators mentioned it as well. Wind back to the Villa Park game. Something similar happened. Tapping the arm and into the back of the net, and the goal was ruled out, and it was ruled out. Trossard has an opportunity to wrap it up right at the death. Trossard performs against Aston Villa. He's one of these multitude of players. I was going to say a few players, but he's one of these multitude of players. Just loves playing against Aston Villa. You know, he just loves it. He ran the show against us when he came on. The first game of the season, he ran the show again today against us. He was brilliant for them. And he nearly, like, if I wanted the ball to be at anybody's feet in that game, it was Leandro Trossard, and he drags it wide. And Villa live to fight another day. We never really get much of a chance to score after we go to 2-2 that I can really remember to get to 3-2. We did. We had a Lamar Bogart shot that goes underneath David Raya, but he gets back. He's able to get an arm back to Claude. That would have been a huge, huge goal for the young man. But I think 2-2 is a good result for Aston Villa. I think even the most optimistic and cold-hearted or expectant of Villa fans will think that 2-2 away at Arsenal after being 2-0 down is a brilliant point for Aston Villa. I think that's the case. Now, a couple of points I spoke about there that I want to go back on. Number one is Lamar Bogart. I mentioned I saw a couple of former players, questioning what's Lamar Bogart coming on. The obvious substitution there was probably to bring on Buendia, maybe bring on Bailey, switch Tielemans back into the 6th position, and put Morgan Rogers into the 10. Absolutely no problem if Unai Emery does that. But I think it's fair to say that Unai Emery, in a lot of ways, was vindicated in bringing on Lamar Bogart. Was he absolutely perfect? Did he play a perfect game there? No. But what he did do was Unai Emery clearly came out here to contain in that midfield area with Boubacar Kamara and Onana in there as well. Absolutely came out here to contain. And bringing off Onana and putting in Yuri Tielemans there for two reasons. Hindsight is 2020. Hindsight is perfect vision. Yuri Tielemans isn't on the end of that diving header. You can say, oh, maybe when Diaz scores that. Yuri Tielemans was on the end of it. The decision is justified almost immediately straight away by that and Tielemans' performance for that 10-minute period. But Mark Bogart's substitution was justified because he is by trade a defensive midfielder. That's what he is by trade. And what he did really well was he patrolled that kind of box area in the midfield, shuffled people wide. Did it put a lot more pressure on Matty Cash? Yes, but Matty Cash should be able to deal with that too. And that's what Onana was doing in the first half. Both halves, our fullbacks, we were ushering them down the line to our fullbacks because we did not want them to come through in the middle. And arguably, I would say both halves, we were good at doing that. And I thought Lamar Bogart was really good at it. Held his position really well. Wasn't blown past at any stage. Had minimal passing to do, but when he did, he passed it okay. And then he had that shot towards the end where he ventured forward. So fair play to the man. You know, it was a substitution that a lot of people had raised eyebrows for. I think the understanding of it here is defensive midfielder, less change, more keep the structure the same. And I think Unai Emery can feel justified in that. Can have the warm and fuzzies about bringing on Lamar Bogart in that instance. The other one I wanted to talk about was the Ian Maatsen substitution. Now, I think the Ian Maatsen substitution was warranted. Going forward, once again, Ian Maatsen is very, very good. But what we've seen I think it's the fourth time he's done it. It's definitely the third. It could be the fourth time that Emery has done this, where he's made a change to the starting 11. Not like what he's seen in the first half and made that immediate change, the change back, switched back at halftime. So when Maatsen got ahead of when Maatsen was ushered out of the way and Martinelli gets in at that back post, I think Unai Emery had the slip written at that stage to bring in Digne. He's done it before. He's done it to Bogart, I think. I think he's done it to Bogart twice at the right back position. And then I think now he's done it to Maatsen. I think it was justified. And he was on a yellow. And I think it was the right and proper substitution to make. What difference did it make to our team, though? I think the big difference that it made was, once again, I'm so sorry for coughing, guys. Once again, Luke Dean just knows how to play in this system. He knows how to do it inside out. There was a bit of a comfort blanket there with him. They attacked at him. I thought they didn't get much. They didn't get as much joy from him. There's a couple of situations where he was upset with the linesman. In fact, Morgan Rogers was quite upset with the referee a couple of times. He got a yellow card for it. And I think you don't need to be a mouth or a speech, lip reading expert to see what he said to him to get his yellow card. And I think Paddy was probably roaring the exact same thing at the TV at the time. What was it? Was it Chris Kavanagh? I think the referee was. So it's So I think, given when Saliba wasn't playing, I think it was more or less, it was an open secret. Thomas Partey was going to be right back. I think playing Ian Maatsen there from the start was the right decision. If you wanted to attack Arsenal down that left side with pace and have an overlap and have a defensive midfielder playing at right back, in theory, that was the right decision. But the right decision also was to take him off at halftime. As I say, gotten blown past for that goal and was on a yellow card. So, that's one of the talking points I think people will have too. Excuse me. Once more, excuse me. Any other talking points on this about this game today? I'm going to come to some of your comments. Whoa, good Lord, there's a ton of comments in there. Thank you so much to everybody. Where are we here? Paul McAllister says, I agree with Rogers, the ref was shocking. Rachel says, well done to the boys for coming back. I think that's a really good character game for the team today. I didn't make enough of that actually. After the Forest game, I spoke probably for about 3 to 5 minutes about how much of a knock on the team's psyche, knock on the team's belief system. The conceding 2 goals that like they did against Forest, losing that game, wasn't something that Villa had done under Unai Emery that much, and it really catapulted Nottingham Forest forward. And I was worried that it was going to be of huge detriment to the kind of the psychology of the team. Conversely, come back from 2 goals down away. Our away form has been patchy. Come from 2 goals down away, score 2 goals against the team that everybody was thinking was going to be Liverpool's main rivals. and may very well still turn out to be their main rivals. I think that's going to have a huge converse effect. I think this is going to be big for the team in away moments and big games like that. And we've got a lot of big games left to come this season. A lot of very big games left to come this season. So a point away from the Emirates, you never turn your nose up at it. Essentially, is what I'm saying. That's fine. But the intangibles of it, the effect on the squad psyche, the effect of the fact that they had to dig deep, the effect of the fact that they didn't roll over like they have previously in some games where 2-0 becomes 3-0 and then maybe ends up 3-1 because we pull one back at the death. That didn't happen. We took it upon ourselves, Yuri Tielemans in particular, took it upon himself to make a purple patch for Aston Villa. And during that purple patch for Aston Villa, we scored 2 goals in 8 minutes. And we got back in parity. Yes, we nearly lost it at the end, but those 2 goals, and that will not be remembered. What will be remembered was the resoluteness to get to those 2 goals back and defend like animals to try and keep that point and potentially go on to win the game. So that's that to me is there is intangibles in that. There will be reference points. That will be a reference point within team talks, within player meetings, within if they're meeting with sports psychologists and stuff like that, which I bloody hope that they are, because the underutilization of sports psychology within the Premier League is, to the best of my knowledge, criminal. But anyway, we won't go down that road at the moment. So hopefully that is a reference point for them. And hopefully it's a huge reference point for Yuri Tielemans. I hope in the debrief on the way home in the coach or on the train, Unai Emery is putting together an 8-minute presentation on Yuri Tielemans and what he did to drag the team back into that, and why that kind of character needs to exist in 11 players as opposed to 1. That's what I'd be doing. I'd be blowing all the smoke up Yuri's Belgian bottom. Because of that is what I will be doing, because he's been a really good player for us, and he's been really, really, really progressive for us, and he's been really, really creative for us as well. We need him to start scoring goals in the Premier League. That was his first goal in the Premier League. Nearly follows it up 3 minutes later, and we need that creativity and that progression from him and from everybody else as well. Excuse me. John Duran says proper spirit shown by Villa after the second half as well. I agree with that. Where are we? Michael O'Brien says, I question Bogart, but I don't think he put a foot wrong. And Rachel Insel Lewis says, Bogart did really well. Matt Hand says, credit to Bogart as well. Where else are we? Yeah, Jason O'Brien with the statement of the year. And I'm not slagging you, but we do need to defend better. I thought our defense was okay. Like, it's difficult to defend crosses all the time. But what you need to do is, the communication. I put it up as well. Like, I want, like, Leon Bailey comes out, and this isn't the criticism of Leon Bailey, because I don't think the communication between Ramsey and Castro is much better. But that Trossard chance, like, it's like as if Cash and Bailey had never spoken to each other before, the way they don't talk, and the way the Trossard is just able to weave in between the two of them with his run. Like, it happens quite regularly. Quite regularly does it happen. Midfielders don't talk to fullbacks. Fullbacks don't talk to wingers. Centre halves, I don't really want them to be the ones turning around and backing information, specifically in the middle of a counter attack. But midfielders should be shouting back. Man on, I was going to say man on, as in, there you go. There's the most overused phrase in football, I think, specifically when if you're playing the game. And it means nothing because it gives no clear instruction. But nobody was telling Leon Bailey where Trossard was coming from, where he was he over his left or right shoulder, what he was going to do, what the likelihood he was going to do was, because he ran from a bit far back. Maatsen should have known better. When that cross comes through, he has a bit of time. Martinelli has to get a run on him. You hear those footsteps, I'm afraid. Mr. Maatsen, you do. But I think for the Trossard one, there has to be more communication there. So from defensive point of view, getting the ball away. In the air, we were much better. That's a Tyrone Mings thing. That was really good. I thought Morgan Rogers was really good at defending corners for us as well. I thought Ezri Konsa was pretty good at defending corners in the air as well. But the communication when the ball is being switched or when that ball is being crossed, there's no real secret to the way Arsenal crossed the ball. There is not a real secret. They put it in the corridor of uncertainty, and they're bloody brilliant at doing it. They're bloody brilliant at doing it. They're far better at doing it than Aston Villa in 2024, 2025. Let me tell you that. Villa were brilliant at doing it last year, and we were brilliant at cutbacks to the penalty area. We're not so good at that now, but we've tailored our game a small little bit. When we do it right, we look really, really good. But Arsenal can do it. They can replicate it quite often. Don't always score from it because they've got their hit or miss sometimes with Havertz up top, you know. But in this instance, they weren't. He hit it. He didn't miss it. Went in the back of the net. And that communication needs to be a bit better. It needs to be stronger. It's something I'm harping on about all year. It's something that it just, at this stage, it has to be communication. Specifically between fullbacks and wingers. It just has to be. There is no way that it can continually happen if the delineation of who's making the call at that stage. Where are the midfielders? Is there midfielders talking? Is there strikers even shouting back? I don't know. Maybe you can't hear it. It's a cauldron. It's a cacophony of sound in any of those stadia. But I don't know where the communication comes from. But I'd like to see that eradicated from our defence. Where else are we? Cat Cannon says Villa never make 2-goal comebacks. It seems like we don't. And that's why I put on my bet in hope, more so than expectation. I thought it was going to be one of those 3-1 valiants. We come back to 2-1, then the Arsenal get their goal. We end up losing 3-1. We're talking about misses that we had, Bogart's substitution not being right, all this kind of stuff. But it wasn't. We got to 2-2 and we kept it there. So, you know, we have to thank the team for that and to thank any tweaks that Unai Emery made for that as well, I think, as well. Paddy best be getting on. I need to hear his opinion. No, Paddy won't be on today, and I do apologize. I did plan on making the team sheet tantrum today, but I was at a 4th birthday party, and by the time the team sheet tantrum came on, the chicken nuggets weren't even served. So there was no way I was getting on, unfortunately. But Paddy did a great job as always, because I left him with only a half set up show, and I do apologize, Mr. Kelly. I do apologize. But he won't be on tonight because he's in the boozer, and he's well entitled to have a few pints on a Saturday night after that performance, so he won't be on. Raphael says Watkins' finish was amazing. I thought it was brilliant as well. Yeah, I thought it was excellent. I thought, like, you hit the... Isn't it? It's funny that, like, you know, when that ball was crossed in, did it cross anybody else's mind, or did it flash in your mind's eye that here we go again, David Ray is going to put off a beautiful double save, and they're going to be talking about this save forever, and Villa fans are going to be sell Watkins in the morning. It flashed in my mind's eye when that cross was when the ball was rotating in the air as it was coming towards that back post. It did flash in my mind's eye, but my God, he hits that, and it comes down off the crossbar, and, you know, he finishes it absolutely brilliantly. And look, has he been absolutely brilliant since Duran's been out? He's not been absolutely brilliant. He's missed 1 or 2 chances. But I think now he's got 3 goals and 2 assists in those 5 games. Correct me if I'm wrong. 3 goals and 2 assists, 1 penalty, goal against Everton. Anyway, no, yeah. He's got 3 goals and 2 assists. I'm nearly certain in those games. Correct me if I'm wrong. That ain't bad. That ain't bad form, lads. And I know people would say, "Yeah, I'm sure you could have got another 2 more. He missed these chances or whatever." 3 and 2. 5 goal contributions in 5 games. That ain't bad. And this isn't me igniting an Ollie Watkins versus John Duran war. It's not. What it's me saying is, we've got 2 very competent strikers, and there are a lot of teams in the league that don't. Arsenal did not have any other striker to bring on today. Newcastle did not have any other striker to bring on today when Isak was misfiring. There's quite a lot of teams. Now, I know Bournemouth had brought on Daniel Jebison after just recalling him from loan, and next thing all of a sudden Justin Kluivert turns into Patrick Kluivert all of a sudden, and they go in and they beat him 4-1. But there's a lot of teams in this league that don't have 2 strikers that they could that they could really hang their hat on to score, have 5 goal contributions in 5 games. And Ollie Watkins is one. And John Duran has done that as well throughout the course of this year as well. So I'm really thankful we have both of those in our midst. I'm really, really thankful we have both of those in our team. And I'm really excited and really enthused in the back half of the season if we can get them alternating their scoring. Jesus, I still wouldn't rule out that both of those players are going to get over 15 goals this year. I still wouldn't rule it out, which would be an absolute massive result for us in the back half of the season. So well done on Watkins in that finish, and well done on I think I'm keeping the ship afloat the last couple of games. We've only lost 3 games in our last 11. We've only lost 3 times in our last 11 games in all competitions. I think we've won 6, drawn 2, lost 3 is our last 11 games. That ain't bad. And I know some of those were cup games, and I know I think that's what our result is. Correct me again if I'm wrong. I'm always open to correction. I always am. So well done. Well, like this team, we're not playing superbly, brilliantly beautiful football, but we're getting the job done. We're getting the job done. There's a lot of days where I come in and I just get the job done. I don't do superbly brilliant work either. And once you get the job done, at the end of the day, you punch in, you punch out, you got your desired result. Job done. Cool. Where else are we? Sorry there. I'm just scrolling down through here really, really quickly. So Sean Bradnock says, doing what big teams do, lure them in at 2-0 to sucker punch them. Bogard was a surprise, but did a good job. Yeah, as I say, I don't have any issue with people thinking Bogard was a surprise, because he absolutely was. Massive surprise, huge surprise. Do I need mods? I'm scrolling through this really. Oh yeah, I see this. Yeah, actually, if anybody wants to be a mod for the channel that can deal with trolls, that's absolutely fine for me. I'm not even seeing them, so sorry, I'm scrolling so quickly through I don't even see what's there. So that's fine. Somebody isn't thankful. Mr. Cyrillic language man isn't thankful for Watkins. That's okay too. You can have that opinion. I think you might be an Arsenal fan, but I'm not sure. Edmund is giving out about the time that Duran could have come on. What if Duran comes on earlier? Watkins doesn't score. How early do you want him to come on? I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just saying, how early do you want him to come on? Could have come on earlier. You're right. He could have come on earlier, but he didn't. And Watkins scored. Now he came on later, and we didn't provide him with the service, and he's probably should feel aggrieved about that, because you know how much he likes to get. I think he had 1 break is all he had, and the ball came across was from Morgan Rogers, but it was going towards the sideline, and he gets onto the ball, and I think he recycles it, if I'm not mistaken. But he didn't really have any chances, so he can feel aggrieved for that. And would he have stuck that goal that Watkins stuck? Probably would have. I just don't know how he would have done it. He could have done a scorpion kick or something, because he's just so brilliant at finishing the ball. Duncan Kilburn says Duran and Malin will start versus Monaco. Malin can't. Malin can't. No, Malin can't, because he can't be registered until then. What else? Yeah, I think there's been nonsense going on there in the chat room. So I'm nearly finished here anyway, guys. I don't know about you. 2-2, Aston Villa, Arsenal. Arsenal fall further behind Liverpool. Villa have, taken points off them again at a time when they needed those points. Darwin Núñez scoring 2 goals in injury time must have really hurt the Arsenal fans also as well. Would have been 0-0 at that stage, and then 2 goals out of nowhere from Darwin Núñez of all people. People like to throw the boot in at him. He's a very, very capable striker in my view. And Liverpool extend their lead at the top of the table. Villa don't eat in too much to Newcastle's fourth place. Chelsea still have a game to come. Chelsea will probably pop into that position they will with the win, and they'll be 4 points ahead of Aston Villa, and Chelsea will be in fourth place. But it's really concertinaing there between fourth place and ninth place, really. I think it's beginning to concertina there all the way down to Brighton, who I think are 4 or 5 points behind us. It's concertinaing there. So over the next few weeks, probably by the end of February, St. Patrick's Day, definitely there will be clear delineation of who is actually a European contender and who isn't. I think within that period of time. And it's up to Aston Villa to step up to the plate. With West Ham next. Unai Emery is not going to be in the dugout against West Ham because he got another yellow card today and he got sent off, or he's going to be sent to the stands for the next game. So it looks like Austin McPhee might wear a suit in the dugout. That would be interesting. It would absolutely drive some football pundits mad. Or it will drive them mad because McPhee is going to be out doing a moonwalk up and down the touchline in that game. It'll probably be Paco will be in the dugout and will be calling the shots, but you never know. It could be Austin McPhee as well, and the man that the pundits love to hate could be in that dugout and calling the shots while Unai Emery is up in the stands. But anyway, we will be back with more podcasts. Obviously, I think there's going to be a couple of bits of news on the transfer front over the next 24 or 48 hours. Monaco are coming up on the horizon too. West Ham, as we've said before. Then we also have the matter of Celtic, which I will be at. And then we have Newcastle. No. Who do we have after Celtic? I think it might be Newcastle as well. Anyway, the reason I'm rattling off games is we will be here for all those games. Post matches, team sheet tantrums. And I know we didn't do a preview for this one. But there was just so much news breaking with Aston Villa with regards to transfers and all. So I just family commitments couldn't do it. But we will be back with previews as well. So thank you so much. And also, I want to say thank you so much to everybody for your really kind words on the Andreas Garcia scouting series or scouting podcast that I did. And also on the Like Bad one. I don't know what it is, but you guys really, really enjoyed those two more so than some of the other ones that I've done. And I just want to say thanks a million. Those words were really nice. And it's nice to get feedback like that, specifically when you put in the time, because I used to jump on and it's absolutely valid and people can do it and it's fine. I've got no problem with it. Just from my own point of view, I used to jump on. The rumor would be out 5 minutes later. I'd be talking about the player. And sometimes all you're really doing is going on numbers and statistics and what you've read from other people and maybe a YouTube video. And that ain't good enough for me anymore. I just don't feel like that challenges me to figure out what a player is like. So now what I do is, as I've said to you before, I try and watch 5 games and come on, or cut-ups of their actions within 5 games and then come on and talk a small bit more about them. So has been more effort has gone into the scouting series this January than probably did in last January anyway, definitely. And I do appreciate the kind words. So thank you so much for that. Thank you so much. Anyway, we'll be back with more podcasts as the week goes on. 2-2 Aston Villa Arsenal. We come away from the Emirates with a point, and I'm going to go away and enjoy the rest of my Saturday night, and I hope you do too as well. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up